I served on the space station of Mimas as a liaison for the Earth Embassy, working with many alien races.
Jean-Charles Moyen, Franco-American SSP, aboard the Solaris spaceship, a part of the Solar Warden. My mission, protection and rescue slaves on other planets.
Rebecca Rose, Psychic Super Soldier, Moon, Mars, Kuiper Belt, and beyond.
Namaste. I'm Yana Prakash. I am a multidimensional healer, work directly with the Andromeda Council, and infinite creation through the oneness with all that it is.
We know if you won't tell them the truth, we will. Hi, I'm James Rink, founder of the Super Soldier Talk podcast, Healing Soul Survivors 501c3, and now the Super Soldier Activation Conference. Since 2010, I have dedicated myself to documenting the untold stories of the secret space program. I have brought awareness of milabs, also known as military abductions, MK Ultra, Monarch, and Montauk programming. Join us for the 2025 Super Soldier Activation Conference in Orlando, Florida, from October 8th to the 12th. Experience 4 days of groundbreaking discussions with over 25 courageous secret space program speakers. Choose from General Admission, VIP Silver, or VIP Gold tickets to tailor your journey into hidden truths. Don't miss this life-changing event. Secure your spot now at supersoldiercon.com.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Can everybody hear us? Let's see. Let's check the chat. Can you guys hear us? Because I'm using different technology today. We should be working here. How's everybody doing? I'm hoping you can all hear us. Great, Sage. Thank you.
Thank you, Sage.
Yeah, thank you for joining the show here today. So today we have Sean Callahan, and if I was prepared, I would have this all put up in front of me. So,
oh man,
because I was actually just busy getting all this set up. So I'm not actually in my studio right now. I'm at. You want to explain the place?
We're at the USA MedBed, our main location where we've got all of our state-of-the-art wellness technology, energy and frequency-based technology. And for anybody out there, James is 100 times more professional and well set up than I am. I'm just running off a Zoom camera. James has got cameras, microphones hooked up everywhere, and on a much more professional level. But we're here today because what we're going to do is we're going to go through some of the most state-of-the-art technology right now that's available. We're going to do a little time travel also, actually, because we're going to look at Tesla technology. We're going to look at dual tube plasma energy technology. And the beauty of the dual tube systems is that they're inscribed in hieroglyphics in pyramids and in Egyptian different structures. And so we're actually really time traveling back to where some of this technology is basically coming back to light, is really a nice way of saying that. And this is some of the most powerful technology that's available to the general public. A lot of it you might know, some of it you might not, but it's so much fun because you get to look at the brilliance of how this technology is advanced. You get to really give credibility and a lot of respect to the prior pioneers like Nikola Tesla, Georges Lakhovsky, Royal Raymond Rife, Antoine Prairie, people that really made a difference, that were scientists that literally sacrificed everything to get this technology out to the world. And now it's starting to get out there. So we're here today. We're going to go through some of this technology. We're going to do a walkthrough here at our location. For anybody that's out there, we're in beautiful Richmond, Virginia. And we do allow people to come in by appointment so that they can go in and they can come in here and spend a day or two. James is on his, is this what, your third?
Yeah, my third. Well, we first met up in Orlando at the John Baxter facility.
Yes, at Anti-Aging. And then, James has followed the progression of the development as we've, grown the technology, gotten new technology and added and, try to stay up on top of the most cutting edge technology that's out there. And so we are really excited. I'm excited, James. We're going to have a great podcast today because we're going to take everybody behind the scenes to look at the stuff that we've got in here. And even since the last time you were here, we've got some new stuff. So we're going to go through that. So do you have any questions?
Yeah. Okay, great. So I got the bio here. So today we're going to go over through a Q&A session. So if anybody has any questions about real med beds, not just this theoretical thing, as you can see, there's one here right behind us. And We're going to go over any questions that you might have. We're also going to be discussing the other great developments, such as the multi-wave oscillator by Lakowski, which is right over there. We're also going to be discussing about Rife frequencies. I have Wave Watch down, but maybe,
Dude, I love that.
Maybe you can go run to the office, go grab one.
Yeah.
But red light therapy and other technologies, including I just had a phone call this morning with Dan Winter. We were discussing.
You talked to Dan this morning?
Oh, I didn't tell you.
Oh my God, man!
I sent him that Nikola Tesla stuff that they were actually arguing.
Yeah.
Every inventor thinks they got the answers, but the truth is we can all get along, get together, and come up. But anyway, the fire, you're gonna have to pronounce it because I keep messing
it's called Fire, and I personally love Dan. I think he's one of the most brilliant, if not the most brilliant person on the planet Earth. I love Dan. And as sort of a person coming into the physics of the technologies and med beds, nobody has a better grasp on what that technology is about than Dan. And you can go to Dan's channel. It's Dan Winter. And it's at Dan Winter. You just type it in. But if you really want to get clued into the physics of extraterrestrial spacecraft and real med beds and the history of Earth and physics and what is a soul and all these amazing things, Dan has educated me so much since I first met up with him. I'm very honored and privileged to say that we're going to showcase some of his newest work and some of his prior work as well, which is absolutely mind-blowing. So with that being said, if anybody does have questions along the way, feel free to ask. I do want to just, James, throw out a quick thing about med beds, right? So there is a lot of med bed pods that are out right now that are available. We've got one behind us. There's a pod called a theta chamber. There's a lot of different, what I would call med bed pod technologies that are out there. And they're brilliant. And I give so much credit and I give so much respect to the scientists and the people that work so hard to bring those out to the public. Those are not the free government med beds. Those are not out yet. And those will come someday. I mean, I'm not sure when, but the goal here is, and James, we're going to take them through the medical part of our company as well, because I think it's important that people see kind of where this is all coming from. Being in the medical equipment industry, we deal every day with people with ALS, MS, quadriplegic, stroke, a lot of cancer people that need very high levels of patient care for home use. We're one of the few companies that sends very high-end medical equipment into homes. We'll take you in and show you that. We also help build hospitals all over the world. We've got projects right now going on in the Philippines. We've got projects going on in Mexico. We got projects in Guadalajara. So there's a lot of things that we do that's different, but as somebody who has seen people coming every day that are in desperate need, desperate hope, and they need something now, that's what this is all about. This is about technology that's available right now that has a lot of benefits, that's very good technology. We can give you some history on it, some basic fundamentals on how it works. You don't need to get too deep in the weeds to get the basic premise of what it is. But for anybody that really wants to get deep in the weeds, go to Dan's channel, because he can give you physics on a level that will basically make smoke come out of my ears, which has happened more than once. So with that being said, it's an interactive podcast. Feel free to jump in. Feel free to ask any questions. A lot of the technology is at healthylifetechnology.com. So you can go there and you can get information about what we do. USA Medbed also. .com. But with that being said, James, I guess what I wanted to premise the whole thing on, the pods and all the technology, when you're looking at a medbed pod, what you're really actually doing is you're evaluating what is the technology that they're running. And so there, it's very much like the motor of a car. Do you have a 454 Hemi in that thing, or do you have like a 4-cylinder engine from a Pinto? You're still going to get from point A to point B. It's still going to work. It's still functional. It still has value. But there's a lot of technology out there. So when you see the pods and that, for me personally, that's always the first question I ask is, what's this thing running? What's inside it? And many times you'll find multiple technologies. And we're going to get into the Tesla MedBed. We don't actually have that here, but that's a multitude of technologies. And so, James, with that being said, should we start our tour, or do you have any questions?
Yeah, I just want to mention my friend channeled Nikola Tesla. So Dan Winter was asking questions, and there was a very interesting conversation. But I'll say that for another time, because Dan Dan actually wants to go through Pyre and Rife and Wakowski,
Yeah.
but I'll say that for another show when it's ready. But until now, let's go ahead and hit it. So I guess we're just gonna roll this setup. I have some more artwork to make this look very professional. So let me just switch it over as I come off the shot.
James is a wizard when it comes to technology and production.
Yes, I didn't upload it.
For anybody out there, James, for anybody out there that does film editing, I'm still using Clipchamp and Movie Maker, and James is like, what do you have? What are you running?
So I use Adobe Photoshop,
Yeah.
and I make a clear background PNGs, and then I run that through my software through EvoMux, and so from there, I if I want to edit videos, I like to use. Well, back in the day, it was called Sony Vegas, but now it's not. It's owned by something else, which I still use. Know it by Sony Vegas.
Yeah.
So it's a great piece of software because what is it? The pros use
Final Cut Pro.
Yeah, Final Cut Pro.
Yep.
But I've tried it. It's not intuitive at all, and to me, I prefer to do it this way. So now there we go. Sean
my
Callahan.
God.
There you are.
I know him.
I finally got it.
So we're gonna pick this thing up and we're gonna walk my computer around.
Yes.
Okay.
Can we? So if you want to go outside, this room might be a little tricky, but we can.
Well,
we can.
I can. If I disengage this mic, then I can use the mic off the camera.
So you want to pick up the laptop and move it around?
Yes.
Okay. Let's do that. So.
Because this mic here is plugged in.
Let's switch it. Then we can do that. Make it seamless in the integration process. I'm pretty sure which one. This
HD.
one?
I think it's the bottom one. Oh yeah, that one. Yep.
This one. Switched over to the. How do we sound now? Everybody. Okay, great. Well, I guess. Yeah,
until we start getting messages saying I can't hear you, we're just going to
Yeah.
assume that you can hear
Doug
us.
says we have a great production. How's it going, James? Doing great. So I just
Is that Doug Stiles from the EE system down the street, Mobius Bioenergy, which is good friends of ours. In fact, James, we got to talk about maybe getting back over to see Doug while you're here. The EE systems, we love those too. Everybody that's getting a chance to use
Do you
those.
want to unplug this too?
Yes,
the
we
mouse.
can.
Okay,
Yeah,
go
we
ahead.
will not need the mouse.
Okay, all right. What
So-
about this? What is this?
That's our camera.
Oh, yeah, don't.
We'll keep that. All
Okay,
right,
great.
people. Man, look at how we're so modern here. So this is going to be our first station right here. This is going to be the Tesla multi-wave oscillator. And one of the things that you're going to see here is that I'm doing some quantum healing with a gentleman. This gentleman's very sick. Been in touch with him and his family. And basically, we've got these technologies that anybody that wants to get into quantum, maybe we'll do that on another call. But for the sake of the camera, the multi-wave oscillators basically face each other. Each one of these rings is one of the most beneficial frequencies for the body. So the first thing you have is you have this multiple set of rings, and they basically send those frequencies into the body. But in addition to that, it sends electrical energy. So if you can see here, they would be opposed. It would be one over here, and then we'd have this one here. But for the sake of the video, to make it a little easier for you to see that, when these are basically, when you're in this field, one of the things it's also doing is it's charging your body with electrical energy. So with that electrical energy, you're charging the volt, you're charging the amount of electricity that your cells have to work with. So your body runs on electricity, as we know. When you're 30 years old, you run on about 100 millivolts of electrical energy. When you're 70 years old, you run at about 30. So having electrical energy for the body to do its basic functions and do its work is very important. Now, it's called a multi-wave oscillator because Lakhovsky, and this actually started with Nikola Tesla, but Lakhovsky,
So we can see you.
yeah, actually, it's,
Oh.
yeah.
There you are.
But I like having the technology there too a little bit. But basically, Lakhovsky, what he did is in Tesla, they figured out that cells vibrate, right? And so the vibration of the cell determines the health of the cell. A normal healthy cell, just for record, we'll just say vibrates at 15,000 vibrations per second. And an unhealthy cell will vibrate ballpark. We'll say around 10. If it's getting 10, it's not good. If you get down to 5, you're close to checking out. And so if they could restore the cells back to their maximum potential, their highest vibrational setting, they would basically be able to restore people back to very good health. And they did that. And they did that on a grand scale. The multi-wave oscillators were produced out of France from 1930 to 1939, before the start of World War II. They were sold by the thousands in Europe. They were then eventually put into hospitals in New York, where they had great success. And they invited Lukovsky over to celebrate. And unfortunately, Mr. Lukovsky was hit by a car, subsequently died, and all the technology was removed. However, being that he was from Europe and being the fact that he had made these for quite some time, the Europeans never lost the technology and are still using it to this day. These multi-wave oscillators are actually handmade by a scientist in Germany who is a huge Lukovsky fan, many of those out there in the world. And so that is kind of the story of the multi-wave oscillator. Now, that is technology that comes back from, very early time period. Now, the next piece of technology that we're going to look at are going to be the Tesla paddles. And these basically send electrical energy into the body. So unlike some of the technology where you're in a field of electricity, these right here you can put directly on the body. You've got a PEMF. This was very popular. This goes underneath people's knees. It goes on shoulders. You can put on various different things. People that come in that have a bad back will put these underneath. You can put one on your stomach, one on your back, but this literally sends the energy directly into the body. There we go. Wow. James is demoing those quite nicely. Yes, yes, yes. So the goal for us here at our location is to set up what we call stations. We want to try to get as many of the technologies available, so when people come in, we can get them to move from one station to the next, because every technology is a little bit different. They all do something a little bit different, but the culmination of all those together becomes very powerful, and it's very good for getting what we would call the achieved outcome. So these are the first two stations, and this is really, early history. Multi-wave oscillators going back to the 30s. Tesla patented the oscillator in the early 1900s, like 1904, and so now we have these units here.
Question. You see it?
Is this all FDA approved? It's not FDA approved. Actually, these are not classified as medical devices. There is some technology here, though, that is FDA approved, but I don't think that Tesla and those guys were, I don't even know if the FDA was around. And I know that most of the people out there that are making the technology right now are really not too concerned about FDA approval, because they're really not trying to get this into the medical industry at this time. However, and if you actually research Lukovsky, you're going to find that there's a lot of clinical data for him, Royal Rife, and others, that when they put all this in hospitals, the results they got were phenomenal. And so that history and those studies and the results that they got is actually very well documented. So we're going to get into how I got into this. We're going to go to another part of the room, and I do appreciate that. That's a great question. Yeah. So here is the red light technology. Now we're getting back into red light technology, and red light is, if you're looking for technology that's FDA approved, the red light technology has gotten a lot of FDA approval. So if you like that stamp and seal, red light is really powerful. Now we have a lot of red light. We've got Malaya's got the mittens on, so you can put the mitten on, and it's very good for the wrist and hands if you've got arthritis. What else do you have there?
Also have on the waistband and the back strap for your back pain and inflammation in the stomach.
And you've been using, Malaya, the stomach one a lot. How do you like it?
I actually love it. I feel like it gives you that very toned, flat look after many uses. I do use it every day in the morning, at least for a couple hours, and it does a very lot of changes and helps with my body and just making me feel energized throughout my day.
I love that. And so if you get into study red light and the benefits of red light technology, it's very good for cleansing the blood. It's very good for wound healing. It's very good for a whole host of things. We do have a red light hat. We have a red light mask. Do you want to put the mask on or just turn it on? You don't need to put it on. But the mask is really good for skin detoxification. If you go into Google and you actually type in benefits of red light technology, this is the red light mask. These are really, I mean, and this thing costs like $150. It's really not very expensive. A lot of this red light technology is very inexpensive, but simply by just wearing the mitten, you know, you can literally cleanse the blood coming through the body by just something doing that. And well, James, I love the way you can multitask. So this is one of the other newer technologies that we've got. This is going to be called our celestial pod, our celestial bed, if you will. And hopefully you can get a good look at that. And this is something here now that's going to have multiple different types of technology inside it. So you can see also that it's vibrating. Hopefully you can see that. And if you understand the secrets of the universe, think energy, frequency, and vibration, the beautiful quote from Nikola Tesla. And so this technology incorporates multiple different things. So you've got obviously vibration, you have chromotherapy, you have gyrotherapy, you have magnets, you have crystals, you have ozone, you have sound frequency, you've got terahertz frequency, you've got cell resonance, you've got far infrared. So this has a lot of different technologies in it, and you basically just shut it and just lay it down in there, on average, maybe 15, 20 minutes at a time. It's phenomenal for cleaning out the lymphatic system. So there's a lot of other things. Everybody that comes through here, it's really good for pain, soreness, arthritis. A lot of people come in with a bad back and they feel great. We've got a lot of videos on our YouTube channel of people getting out of this, and you get a lot of really good feedback. So that's another real good piece of technology. Maybe if I back up, you can see it a little bit better. But this is definitely, when people come into our facility, this is definitely one of the first things that people want to get into. Now, the most popular technology and probably the most powerful one, and I apologize, but I got to pull a chair up here, is going to be our Phi-Ray system. And the Phi-Ray is Dan's newest dual tube plasma energy technology. And this has also a computer here, which is going to run a bandwidth of frequency sets. And the way that the dual tube systems work, and let's see here, if I can just back up a little bit. The way the dual tube systems work is you have a centripetal, you have a signal coming from both sides of each sphere, and those are basically going to collide in the middle, and that's going to create an energy field that the person will be in, and that is a plasma energy field that becomes recursive. And through the course of becoming recursive, it taps into the DNA, and therefore it becomes a mindful and intelligent energy field. Now, these are the kind of systems that, as I spoke of earlier, are inscribed in hieroglyphics that you're going to see were used thousands and thousands of years ago. And the story is that the people that came down from the heavens that built the pyramids, when they got into the Earth's atmosphere, it was not conducive to their body types, and they were using dual tube plasma systems to regenerate their body. And there's still, if you look at Göbekli Tepe, or if you look at any of these really big monolithic structures, there is still stones and architecture there that we still cannot replicate today. So it's quite clear that the people that were making this technology were highly advanced. And the best part also about this new system is that it includes a handpiece. Now, this is a magnetic field, and so you can put this on any part of the body that you like. You can put it up by your head if you've got pain in your shoulder, and you've got a handpiece to go with the rest of the system. And it's super easy to use. You basically just turn it on, and you can run it, put it on a timer. So the Phi-Ray is Dan's newest technology that we sell and represent here, and we absolutely love it. The results and the feedback that we get from this are very, very good. And this is, if you're looking for true medbed type technology, that is true medbed type technology. And the best part is you don't need the pod, you don't need all that other red light technology. We've also got now a red light system. that you can lay down in here. And this is very popular. It has near infrared and red light both. It's on a mounted hydraulic or electrical bracket, so you can lift it up and down. You can, turn it side to side, however you want to do it, and it's very much adjustable. James is going to lay down. This is also a very popular. Yeah, make sure you wear that for your eyes. So this is a really popular piece of technology. And there's 5 or 6 different settings depending on the wavelengths that you want to run. There's multiple wavelengths that are going to be used for different types of therapy, if you will. And so you've got them for weight loss, you got them for detox, you got them for circulation, you've got them for a whole host of things. And the red light technology is really super cutting edge. So that is room number 1. I think we'll get Malaya to get our bioscan system up and running. And this is kind of nice because you can kind of come behind the scenes to kind of see all the things that we've got going on here. Now, when we were talking about hospital beds, these ICU beds in here, if you really messed up, these are beds that they're using in hospitals. Those are the highest end hospital beds that you're going to find in any hospital. And we spend a lot of time in hospitals. And so when people call up and they need a hospital bed, then we're going to provide them, obviously, the medical equipment that they need. You can see here in our showroom, Kyle, you got the Dolphin mattress, one of the best air mattress systems to make sure people don't get bed sores and pressure wounds. And then we've got some x-ray equipment that's going to the Philippines, doctor equipment. We set up a lot of doctor offices, exam tables, procedure chairs, some of the newest equipment here. Where's Malaya? Okay, yeah, because if possible, I want to get the bioscan system set up. Oh, perfect. And then, of course, as long as we're going through here, this is my little domain. Anybody that loves crystals, I'm right there with you, people. We're going to get into a lot of crystal stuff. Tesla was huge on crystals. Dan Willis is huge on crystals. This is our conference room here. As long as we're doing the tour, this is all equipment going to the Philippines. Ultrasound tables, more x-ray equipment. Not really here for that, but somebody said, how did Sean get into this? Well, if you deal with ICU people that are on the brink of checking out. Oh, perfect. We're running a scan right now. This is our scanning system, the bioscanner. Super, super powerful. It'll look at every single part of your body within about, depends, you can run it 7-8 minutes, or you can run it for about 40 minutes if you want to do a more long-term one. But basically what it's doing is it's giving you a score from 1 to 6, with 6 being the least wanted one, 1 being the best. And then what it's going to do is it's going to give us a breakdown on exactly what's going on with that person, so that we know exactly where we want to focus our frequencies. And this technology is very, very cool. Jamie, got you on. So basically all she does is put on the headset, and the headset sends sound frequency into the ears, and into the ears from there to the central nervous system. But the beautiful part about this technology is that you can do it before and after. So we can run a scan and we can get the data. And then once we're done using the technology, we can run another scan and we can show actual tangible data that shows that there's improvement that's being done. And the goal, as we all know, is to be consistent. And the goal is to, check in every 3, 6, 9, 30, 60, 90 days. Ultimately, what you're trying to do is you're trying to, sorry about the tilt there. What you're trying to do is you're trying to, do things on a 90-day protocol. So this is the this is the technology here that's really important to kind of get a baseline of where people are at, what's going on inside the body. This gets into your DNA, your chromosomes, every cell of the body will be evaluated, and then we'll have a score for that. And this is really important technology, and this thing can run corrective frequencies. So this machine not only does the analysis, it also can run the corrective frequencies once you're done. And that is super, super important, to just get a baseline of what we're doing, what we're looking at, what we need to work on. If anybody has any questions, you can ask James. I kind of like the fact that we're not just sitting at the desk because, there's just so much going on here. Now, these are our plasma energy spheres. This is another system that is on right now that is also dual tube energy. And what I'm going to do real quick while we're talking about this. Now, this runs on an app. So I can run the spheres on an app. So let's say people go in and get the scan done. And this is another one of Dan's technologies and Patrick Bate. But I can go in and I can say, okay, these are the frequency sets. Let's see if I can get rid of that. But these are the frequency sets that I'm going to run for this part of the body. So once I've done the scan and I kind of know what we're dealing with, then I can go in and I can update the the protocol or update the units to run the technology that we need. And for the sake of the video, I do need to plug these things in because I want you guys to see the full effect. If anybody has questions, feel free to ask James as I switch out the batteries. But this is an amazing piece of technology. It's definitely one of my favorites. And unfortunately, right now, the batteries are dead, but let's see if we can find them. There we go. Right. Plug this one in. Super easy to use too. If anybody out there is looking for technology, this is what you want. This is the technology here that's very affordable, it's very powerful, and it's very easy to use. So basically, oh, I didn't want that. There we go. So you've got these dual tube plasma systems. Remember, what's another one there?
Someone is asking, how much is the session?
We don't charge for sessions, so we make the technology available at no charge. There are places that buy the technology. So, but I can come right in here, go to the frequency tables, and then I can punch in. I'm sorry, it's kind of glaring. But anyway, I can go in and pick any part of the body to run the frequency sets for. And then you're in this dual tube system. And this is doing very much the same thing that Phi-Ray is doing. The main difference between this and the Phi-Ray is that the Phi-Ray system is, let's see if I can get there. The Phi-Ray system is a much more powerful system, and it's running a big bandwidth of frequencies. This one's not quite as powerful, but it can be very much tailor-made for any part of the body. So the culmination of both these technologies is absolutely amazing. The work of Dan Winter, and basically, bringing back to light the technology that was used by the ancients to rejuvenate themselves. So we'll just kind of do a final tour here. Of course, as long as you're coming with me, we're going to go through the whole place. You guys are my guests here today. Oh my goodness, what do we got in here? Oh my gosh, look at that.
Sean, someone's asking, where is your office located?
We're in Richmond, Virginia. So this is all more equipment that's going to the Philippines, anesthesia machines, surgical equipment. Not that we're really interested in that, but It's the medical equipment that's gotten me into the wellness technology. Now, this is probably one of our best rooms here. This is our anti-aging system, our grounding anti-aging bed system, where we have all these beautiful beds set up where you can come and relax. So after you've used the technology, you do need to kind of, you need to ground and you need to kind of relax. And so these blankets, this, if you're looking for a technology for home that can use the, if you're looking for a place, do you see all the silver, right? We had some people here this week from Tennessee. We've had people here from Florida. People come in from all over the country. And like I said, we don't charge. We just want feedback. We want people that are interested in using or getting access to the technology to be able to use it at no charge. This silver is coiled silver. So if I do this and I flex it and move it, it's not going to break it. So the lady that was here said, "Hey, Sean, I've got a grounding sheet and I don't ever see any silver in it." Well, that's because silver is expensive. And if I'm not going to, if anybody out there knows what a slinky is, you're my age. So a slinky basically was a coiled piece of metal that could go up and down stairs. But basically, the reason that this is coiled is that it will not break, right? It can flex. And 40% of this fabric is coiled silver. And it's made in beautiful Charlotte, North Carolina at a textile factory there. So this is an American-made product. If you cannot see silver in a bed sheet or a bed cover, there's not much in there. It's not very conductive. And that's why the cost of it's going to be very low, because there's not very much hard materials that are in there. But inside the blanket, and you can see it's kind of double sewn, are nanotechnologies, which is a mixture of amethyst and tourmaline and other crystals that, when they combine, create far infrared light. So the grounding technology, this is a grounding blanket. We've got the grounding sheet that I'm on. We actually sell the whole bed, the whole system. But this is a really important room. After you've used all these technologies, it's very important that you ground and relax, because it's actually in the resting phase that your body's really doing the work. When you're getting all the energy and you're getting all the frequencies and all, your body's absorbing that, but it takes time to process that energy and to cultivate it into the improvements that you're looking for the body. Oh my God, James, there I am. God, it's hard working with these professional people. They want the face and everything. Everything's camera ready. But basically, hey, welcome to the spaceship, because you know what the beauty about this whole thing is? The future is here now, right? That's why, like, you know, all the off-planet technology, some of it's coming. It's very powerful. It will be here. We're not waiting, right? When people call me up and they need a bed and they need technology, some of these people, they die before I deliver the bed to them. So for anybody that's out there saying the med beds are coming, yeah, they are. But guess what? I'm not waiting for them. When the free ones come from the government, that's great. I'm not a free guy. I'm not a freeloader. I'm not, you know, I respect it. I know that it's powerful. I'm not waiting for anything going on within our government to get me off and running, because I'm dealing with these people every day. Some of them have days, some of them have weeks, some might have months. But if you're out there saying, "Oh, I need a med bed," well, quite frankly, probably if you did some research and you get on this channel, on James's channel, you're going to find that if it's osteoporosis, these blankets, by the way, arthritis, you sleep a lot better. It declusters the blood, grounding. This is all FDA approved. It's all like a lot of white papers, 20 different published studies on the effects of grounding. It declusters the blood. It is very good. You get up to 20% deeper REM sleep, reduce anxiety, reduce depression. It's really good for you. It's very important. Your brain waves, by the way, run on the earth frequency, and the earth frequency is 7.83 hertz, but whatever it is, it's your brain waves. So when you're connected to the earth while you're sleeping, it basically pulls all the EMF, all the extra EMF energy out of your body that you're getting hit with. And it's basically allowing you to get a deeper amount of sleep. And when we're looking at all these electronics and we're bombarded by all the Wi-Fi and all these different things. So this is one of our last rooms right here. But this is our grounding room. This is like the recovery room that I might call it. And being that we set up recovery rooms in hospitals, and I'm very familiar with what those are, this is a place right here where you can kind of relax and do your thing. And then, of course, we've got some other backdrops to film from. Sometimes I'm shooting different backdrops for different whatever. Gotta have some fun around here, people, if you know what I mean. And then, of course, what good is an office without a good kitchen? And then here we've got a lot of really healthy stuff. This is really good Purium. You know, you need to put really good stuff in your body. After you get done using all this technology, you need like real salt. You need to get the minerals and the electrolytes and all that back in there. So this is our little kitchen area. You can see here. See, isn't that nice? You don't even have to come to Richmond. You can come and just, James, they can feel like they're part of the family. The only thing we ask, though, is that you call and set appointments, because when people start coming in here, it can get a little bit hectic, as you can imagine. So if we know you're coming, we can have people here ready for you to spend time with you, answer your questions. If you're looking at opening up a wellness center, you know, and you're looking for what should I do? What's the best technology for me? Obviously, it's going to always depend on budget. But everybody in the wellness industry really should have a bioscanner of some kind. If it's not that one, just get one, because you really need to have data to show before and afters and show how the improvement is being made using the technology. You know, you don't want people coming in and out of a place saying, I didn't feel anything. Well, when I did the scan and it came back and showed that my pancreas was not in very good shape, I would have never known that, right? And then I could focus the frequency sets on the pancreas. But if I didn't do that, I would still think, oh, I want to do this one or that one. I'd just be picking random frequencies, which sometimes is okay. But the scanning technology is very important, because you got to have clear data. It gives you a very good roadmap. And that is one of the most sophisticated. I know a lot of people that come through here that are familiar with other scanning products, AO Scan. They're all good. Like anything that's doing anything that make the world a better place, I'm only going to say good things about it. But there are different levels and there's different types of technology. And as with anything, technology does advance. And so, you know, the goal is to have something in there. And then, you know, the next thing I would say, the most powerful technology in this place is by far the Fire dual tube plasma energy systems. If you just want to go right to something that's like our most powerful system, it's going to be that. Now, the previous system was something called Therify, and Therify up until that point was very, very powerful. It was actually running a lot more power, but they found that they could deliver the frequencies and the energy in a much more efficient way with Fire. So as with anything, that's the newest development technology that's out. Just got to make some adjustments here, James. I'm trying to keep up with.
Someone's asking a question. How much are the bioscanners?
The bioscan system that you just saw was 11 grand. That was the 11 grand. And that does the corrective frequencies. Technically, that thing fits in a briefcase and it can be carried anywhere. It's a laptop, the box that does all the processing, and it's the headset. And that thing does corrective frequencies. I know there's a really good, if you're not close to Richmond, there's a really good spa called the Wild Horse Wellness Spa, which is in Sheridan, Wyoming. So if you're in Montana or you're in those areas, and Andrea Simpson that runs that, phenomenal lady, she's got the Tesla chamber med bed, which is technically a culmination of multiple technologies. First off, it is hyperbaric. Now, a hyperbaric system, and we can sell that. We sell that Tesla system. We don't have it in here yet. We're going to try to clear out some of this medical equipment to make room for some additional technology. But the Tesla MedBed system is hard shell hyperbaric. And then you've got, you could do soft shell also. So if you want to save money, you don't need hard shell. Hard shell is a little easier to get in and out of, especially for people who are a little bit limited mobility. But then you're running the bioscan. So you're doing the bioscan, then you're running corrective frequencies, and then you are also getting the plasma system. Now, Rife technology, which is single tube technology, we sell those, we have a Tesla plasma system, and the Tesla plasma system is a single tube system, which is really a Rife technology. And that is, so basically what I would tell you is, if you need to kill something, you want a single tube plasma system. So if it's Lyme's, if it's Parkinson's, if it's anything, pathogens, viruses, if it needs to be killed and destroyed, like bad cells, tumor cells, you want a single tube system. If you want to rejuvenate and energize and do things like limited heart, bad lungs, bad kidney, you want a dual tube system. Dual tube systems are the most powerful, but they're really designed for rejuvenation. And those dual tube systems are so powerful that they perform something, James, called, we were talking about last night, negantropy. And negantropy is reversal of time reversal. And when time being the measure of spin energy, and all this information, once again, is Dan Winter. I mean, I sound intelligent, but I just listened to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of Dan's videos, because initially when you listen to it, it takes time to kind of build the basic fundamentals. But when I've actually, a story to sidetrack on, when Dan said, hey, yeah, you guys can start selling my technology, the plasma spheres were the first ones I sold. And I was so scared to sell the technology that I didn't even offer it for 6 months. I'm like, this guy, like, you've seen all the medical equipment. If you need an X-ray machine, ultrasound, anything, I can take it apart. I've got hundreds of YouTube videos doing medical equipment demos. But when they gave me the ability to sell that technology, I'm like, this is a huge responsibility. I really need to have some idea what I'm doing. Nothing in the wellness industry with energy, frequency, vibration type technology that does not translate in medical. If you want to learn this, like for me, I'm like, I'm going back to college. I literally was running around taking notes, listening to videos, talking to people, doing interviews, flying around the country. Like, it took years, and I'm still like, if you look at guys like Dan and a lot of the people around Dan, they're master level PhD people, right? And I feel like I'm a well-educated third grader, which I can talk to a lot of first graders and second graders and help them, because that's kind of where we're all at some level. But if you really want to know, yeah, the difference is the tubes. So if somebody comes to me and says, I've got the C word, well, I mean, that machine will help. You'll reverse it back. It will help. But ultimately, like the main thing really also, people, is the more layers of technology that you can bring into the equation, the better the outcome, right? It's like, you really don't want to put all the weight on one piece of technology. If I was going to grab one piece of technology and say, I'm going to battle with this thing, it would be Phi-Ray. But I know that there's very specific tools to do very specific jobs. And that is why, as soon as I know what's going on, okay, and that multi-wave oscillator that I started off with, that's right over here, that set of those discs, they were crushing it. They were crushing it back in the day with all the bad things. And here's why: all the cells that you don't want in your body, the pathogens, all those cells, they resonate at a very low vibration. Your healthy cells, like we were talking earlier, they dance at like 15,000 vibrations per second. The pathogens, the viruses, all the garbage cells, they're at low frequency, 5,000. So when they get hit with a high frequency device, it basically dissipates them. Now, I brought up the Slinky. I'm going back to all you people that have an AOL address right now, because we're right here, baby. AOL, Earthlink. Gmail people, I don't know if you're going to get this or not, but when you start running those frequency sets, and you can start removing those pathogens and a lot of that stuff, that's the goal, is to have that really powerful technology. And so there's not there's a lot of things that you can do, but diet comes into it. There's a reason I walk you through our kitchen, because we're loaded with all kinds of super high nutrient dense stuff. A lot of it's on the website, but you don't need it. The one thing I will tell you is that if you're taking vitamins, make sure they're not synthetic, because more than likely they are, and they're probably going to do more harm than good. There's a very good chance that I've gone twice traveling, forgot vitamin C, and I went into 2 health stores, very well-known names, which I won't name, but 6 out of 7 of the vitamin C was synthetic. It wasn't actually even derived from tangerines or oranges or natural substances. So the goal is to not need the technology because the whole body has gone off a cliff. The goal is at 59 for where I'm at right now, I want to live to 110, but I want to live 110 hiking, working out, staying fit. This is all about really living a healthier, happier life and reducing the need for, all these other different things because something's gone sideways. And if it goes sideways, like I said, I get these calls every day from people. A lot of these people, like I said, they need a bed. I had a guy in here the other day with ALS. He goes, I'm going to die, but I'm going to die comfortably. And there's also a website I want to refer everybody to. A lot of the information that you can get on ALS, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, technically, if you look it up and do research, the research shows that that's being caused a lot by toxic heavy metal that's getting in the blood-brain barrier. And what's happening is that as that toxic heavy metal is in there, viruses start feeding on it. And as they feed on it, it causes inflammation. And as the inflammation increases, it starts cutting off the neural pathways. A lot of the problems that are dealing with right now are being dealt with because of toxic heavy metal. So let's say theoretically Parkinson's, whatever, or ALS. I deal with ALS constantly. Those people, they're that's just, if you have the diagnosis, it's not about if you have it, it's about how you're going to deal with it. A lot of people, as much as I hate to say it, give up. A lot of people. I mean, they come in here and I'll show them. I'll say, I'm not saying I'm not going to say it's going to reverse it. I'm just saying there's a very good chance if you understand what it is and you go after it in a way that is intelligent. But 90% of the people that come in, they say, well, we just don't know what it is. Well, if anybody out there, once again, my AOL friends, we all know Lou Gehrig, wasn't around for him, but that was in the 50s and now it's 2025. And I don't think we've really made a whole lot of progress in that whole field. And it's the not knowing. But medicalmedium.com, medicalmedium.com. James, I don't know if you can put that in the chat, but that's a guy you want to go research. His name is Anthony William, a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant person. And basically what he's going to do is give you the game plan on how to heavy metal detox. Now we have an amazing heavy metal detox package that we offer. It's about $300 for 6 months. It has iodine, very high quality iodine, which you put just a little bit on your thyroid or you can put on your wrist. But when you start pulling the metal out, you want to make sure it gets out. You don't want to take the metal, dislodge it, and it goes 2 inches down your bloodstream and lodges in again. So the iodine comes with colloidal silver and colloidal gold. The colloidal silver takes it out of the body. The colloidal gold will entrap it in the blood-brain area and make sure that it gets out of there. Both those gold and silver also have a lot of other beneficial properties, which actually is talked about a lot in the Bible. But the whole thing with all of this is to not need the technology. The goal is to live a healthy, happy life. And if you're using it to energize the body. Like you can use the multi-wave oscillators and get a lot of energy, right? So when I get out of those things, I am pumped up and ready to go. And I want to maintain good health, right? I don't want to break down. I don't want to break down early. I want to get into all that. James, I know this is a big product that you have. So if you're watching this little patch, always have these things on. These are the Lifewave patches. James sells these. You can get them off of his website. But basically what they do is they stimulate copper peptides. Those copper peptides activate dormant stem cells. And so you're activating these dormant stem cells and you are, basically almost age reversing, if you will, because it's when your body starts activating, when the slowdown of stem cells starts slowing down, that's when the aging process accelerates. Oh my gosh, look at that. And there'll be a link. James, you throw your link down there. So that they can order those. So because if you order them online, it's cheap.
It's already in the description.
It's in the description. Okay, perfect. But see what I'm getting at, people? Do you understand where I'm at? It's all about layering technology. I want to have that for stem cells. I want to have some red light here and there. I've got all these technologies. If I want to make sure I'm eating good, got to exercise, right? There's a lot of things. But if you're on the edge and you're about ready to go off the cliff and you really need some help, if it's anything with the cells that need to be destroyed, you definitely want to you want to get a single tube plasma system to do that. That's really what it is. And there's a lot of good ones out there. We do have some, but I would tell you just a single tube system will go in and destroy stuff. Then after you destroy those cells, now jump into the phi ray or the plasma energy spheres, recharge the body, give it some energy. Ground, really important. And you don't need all the blankets to ground. You can ground sleeping, obviously. That's the goal of that. The more times that you, Kelly, you're awesome. Thank you for that comment. They're really amazing patches. Now, the one thing about those patches is that you're going to have to wear them for about 4 to 6 months to really start seeing benefits, because when you're activating dormant stem cells go to the area that they're needed the most, right? So if they're internal, and like me, I've got a bad, there's whatever, they're going there first. The brain says they're going there. So if you're looking to say, well, my wrinkles are still here or my hair's still gray, it'll get there. It'll help that. But the goal is just put those things on and get that into your daily lifestyle. Get the high density nutrition. Integrate as many things into your life as possible to stay healthy. And then when you're using med beds and you're doing all that, you're doing it because you're pushing to do 120 and live a healthy, happy life, and not, get yourself in a position where you're stuck in a wheelchair. I mean, I'm glad that we did this talk today, James, that I was able to take people through my place, because there's so many people that I deliver these hospital beds to that are never going to get out of that bed. It breaks my heart. Like there's times when I'm coming home and I'm like, God, this is just such a heavy story. And I'm talking to these families and I'm like, just a story, just not very recently, 67-year-old guy's out back working, building a playground for his grandkids. He falls and breaks his back. We deal a lot with spinal stuff. Dan Winter also makes something we have, which is the piezo Tesla coils, little mini tiny coils. You put one on the front, one on the back, and they're doing the same thing that the spheres are, but they're creating a little energy field. And we're using a lot of those for people with spinal cord injuries, spinal injuries, bad backs. You have to understand that there's something for, if it's arthritis and stiffness and soreness, terahertz wands are phenomenal. They cost $300, $350. There's no reason to be running around. And just so you know, most people have all this arthritis because they're not grounding. So there's a buildup of inflammation in the body. And that buildup of inflammation is basically free radicals. And if you understand free radicals, basically what it is, every time the body replaces a bad cell, it sends a white blood cell. The white blood cell releases a free radical. It takes out the bad cell. But if you're not grounding and your body does not have electrons, or we call electron deficiency, that free radical goes and strips an electron from a healthy cell and damages it, which in turn then gets the body to send another white blood cell. So basically what's happening is you're just getting this mountain of inflammation because all these free radicals missing an electron are unstable. They're bouncing around. They're creating a lot of issues. We need our young people in here.
Turn off as a hello cutie.
Hello QT, but we got some really cool technology too. If you guys saw my office, I'm super big into crystals and a lot of manifestation stuff. And now we're getting big into quantum healing. So the goal for me is, look, if you can't make it here, get us a picture, right? And let me get that picture in this technology, and let me try to work on you that way, right?
Explain what that is.
Yeah, well, actually, this is, if you twist this thing, that coil is the symbol that you see outside of a barber shop, which you think, oh, that was just pretty. No, that was actually real, that was real physics. And then this is a coil that amplifies the power of the crystal, and then you can focus all the energy. And the goal with this thing is to, this is kind of like out of what's the thing those kids watch? What's that?
We were talking about
Harry Potter.
Yeah, Harry Potter.
Yeah, this is like, but they were really doing that, man. If you think, back in the day, they were casting spells. They knew how to do it. It's all energy, right? Focusing plasma energy fields, which is your third eye, sending energy and manifesting things. And if you understand and you can harness that power, then you can basically create any type of reality, even healing, right? Even healing. if you already envision you're healed and you go into the, like, if you tap into the mind, which is more powerful than any technology that I've shown you, that I ever will show you, and you understand how powerful the mind is, and you put the mind to use, and then you have some things like some crystals and maybe some of the other tech, there's really nothing that can't be accomplished. But the first thing that has to be worked on is the mind, right? You have to understand the ability, the power to manifest, to make things happen, and living as if it already has happened. So Neville Goddard, but there's a really great channel, James, that we can put on there, which is Be Something Wonderful. And that Be Something Wonderful channel, it's all about manifestation. And really the goal is to integrate mind, body, spirit, right? Mind, body, spirit, and use these technologies. James is so cool here.
Give a shout out to Mobius.
Mobius Bioenergy, Doug Stiles, down the street from us, a 24 system, EE system, phenomenal. And Doug has also become a quantum healer, I believe. It's a new designation, but Mobius Bioenergy here in beautiful Richmond, Virginia. So we work with Doug very closely. So when people come over, James, we've done overnight stays there. The EE system is also a great system. And as I've said many times, the goal is to integrate layers of technology. You might start with this, then you get that. Now you got 2, 3 things. Now you got the patches, you got the grounding, you got a terahertz one, you got the patches, you got the grounding, you've got a heavy metal detox, right? Or you've got the patches, the grounding, and then you've got, of course, the Wave Watch, which is runs 1,100 frequency sets, puts sound frequency into the wrist. Thousands of testimonials on that thing. That's about $600. But you know, the goal, people, is to live healthy, happy lives, right? If everybody's got money for a microwave, you got money for actual real grounding technology or stuff that's good for your health. And if you have a microwave, get rid of that thing, please, for the love of God. And actually, it's only good for putting your cell phones in at night to keep the EMF from crushing your house.
So I just want to mention the reason why microwaves are so bad is because the food that you eat, the microwave energy is released back into your body. So you are microwaving yourself.
Yeah. Plus all the stuff you put them in leaches into the food. It destroys all the nutritional value. Don't be lazy. Get a toaster oven like me. Sybil, okay. So a friend of ours, Mel out of Carmine, out of Melbourne, excuse me, he's in Cape Coral. So Mel has the plasma systems down there, and Mel has the EE system. So if you're down in Florida and you want to get into a place, you could go see Mel. And
down at Cape Canaveral.
He's Cape Canaveral. Yeah, Cape Canaveral. And he had a lady that slept at the EE system every single night, and she had blood work done. And after 1 month of sleeping in the EE system, literally could show actual growth on the telomeres of her DNA.
Yeah.
And so, like, that's anti-aging, people. When your telomeres start unraveling and that whole thing starts falling apart, it's like you're aging very quick. So if you can regrow telomeres, you're technically anti-aging. And that was by sleeping in the system. Now, Mel has a phenomenal system, even if you get in there 2, 4, 6 hours. And he's got the dual tube plasma system, the Therify, which is also a beast. So, if you're in that area, you can use that technology again. As I said earlier, dual tube systems, the EE system, really good for rejuvenation, really good for anti-aging, so many good things. If you want to kill off bad cells, get a single tube plasma system and dial in a frequency set and just start obliterating those things. However, what I was going to say earlier for our AOL friends, if you remember that Memorex commercial where that lady sings into the wine glass and it breaks, right? That's what's happening when your cells get hit with a certain frequency. And there was a Royal Rife. We'll talk about him real quick. It's important to give credit to these pioneers, because these guys, they got the snot kicked out of them for creating this technology. Their lives were miserable. In many cases, they were thrown into obscurity, but they sacrificed everything to help you, to help me, and they're helping us right now, and we're bringing their technology back. So the story of Royal Raymond Rife is that he worked for a microscope company, one that I still work with because I sell surgical microscopes, but he made his own microscope in the 1920s that had a 2 that had a 60,000 time magnification with over 5,000 working components. He could literally look at living cells under a microscope, and he could run frequencies through those until he knew what frequency would activate it or energize it and what frequency would get rid of it. And so Rife put together this catalog, and he basically proved that he could pretty much crush everything. And then they gave him 16 people, and they flipped all 16 from a very well-known disease that you don't want to get. And the day that Mr. Dr. Johnson was going to release it, he was poisoned, killed. They told Rife, we want the technology. Another story where this guy took a beating. He took a beating, and he did so much and studied so much. And but we're still using his technology. We're getting the benefits of it. The frequency watch is running Rife frequencies. The single tube plasma systems are Rife technologies, but with more powerful electronics, a little bit more research. Dan Winter, who, as you've heard many times, these guys are all taking their work and saying, how do we improve it? How we do it? And then Anton Prairie out of France, dropping the plasma tubes the size of torpedoes down a lab. And that was literally spinning time back. He worked for the French government, had over 5,000 case studies where they had amazing results. So people are asking, what about go in and do some research and really wrap your arms around it and embrace it and go, wow, these guys were amazing people. There was amazing technology. You're not going to get it unless you dig and look. But if you dig and look, you're going to go, wow, man, with folded palms, I am so grateful for everything you people did. Most people might not ever know about you, but people like me and James and all of us, we're not going to let this technology go out here and talk about anything without giving credence and giving respect to the pioneers like Mr. Tesla and all these different people. So with that being said, man, I've been on a rant. James, me and you are usually talking. I've kind of just like chitty chatted away. But does anybody have any questions? I mean, I know I threw a lot of stuff out there. James, you've been very gracious.
Yeah. Some people some were asking about Riley. What was the
Riley O'Reilly
silver suit that she was wearing?
That wasn't actually Riley in the silver suit. That was another person that worked with us.
I was trying to say it.
Yeah, and I stage left, camera right. So we, I like to stage things. I grew up in the Star Trek generation, right? And that was our world. It was like, this is the future. This is, wow. It opens your mind up to all that. And people are still thinking, oh, wow, someday. And I live in the world as right now. It's happening right now. I don't need to wait for someday. If you really look at what you've just seen and you do the research and you understand the power of plasma energy and you understand your aura and your consciousness is plasma energy, and you understand the sun is a plasma energy field that's mindful and intelligent, and that all these ancient civilizations that worship the sun god, they actually were really worshiping a live, intelligent God. I mean, it really was. And they were able to connect with it, very much like Native American people, indigenous people can communicate with trees. They can talk to rivers and lakes because they're conscious living entities, right? And so in a world where modernization is coming and we're evolving through technology, there's a time and place to step out of all of it and go back and tap into the power that you've got within your mind. And, and understand that when you're walking through a forest, all those trees have a massive energy field, and you're walking through this massive energy field with all these trees. That's a plasma energy field that's literally charging your aura. Like, you can measure your aura before and after going in the woods, and they're all conscious entities, and they're all talking, and all their roots are intertwined, and they're communicating, and their roots and their whole system is going deep in the ground, so they're grounding intensely. And tap into that, man. I mean, like Masaru Emoto, probably the last thing I'll say before I call it a show here with you, James, but I can keep going, as you know. You could focus love into water, and you could change the molecular structure of water from a blob to the most beautiful snowflake. And it's very much like the sound therapy, where you can run different sound frequencies and it'll change the geometric pattern on a plate if you've got like salt or sand on it. sacred geometry. So if you have the power with your own mind to project love into a glass of water and change the molecular structure of that water and drink it, how powerful are you really that you just don't understand? If you can do one thing on this video, it's not going to have anything to do with technology. It's going to be you waking up to understand how powerful you are as a creator, how powerful your mind is, understanding that there's things like clairvoyance, that there's things like being empathic, there's things like lucid dreaming where you can leave your body and manifest the reality that you want, whether it's better health, whether it's better income, but don't reinforce and bring words in that you speak things into existence. You know, I get people that come around me and I hear, oh, I'm this and that. And it's like, no, man, we have to project that we're already somewhere else, right? We're always creating our reality. So with that being said, thank you everybody for being on the show today with me and James. James, man, I love you dearly. And I'm so grateful, you know, every time we have a chance to get together. So thank you once again for allowing me to be on your podcast today. And if anybody has any questions, great. And if not, you know, James, if you have any questions, we can answer those. Otherwise, we'll call the show.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Mystifying Mark is asking, have you been to off planet to experience ET medbeds? So to regrow body parts, you're going to need a regen tank. A medbed is not going to do that. Maybe the first gen, maybe going on the second gen, Celestial Chambers with Jared Rand. But Gen 1, regrow, I guess it would like regrow like a limb. But if you want to, like, if
Elena Denon also gets into that,
missing.
but a lot of that is holographic. So your body has a perfect blueprint of exactly how you need to be. That's why the stem cells are so beautiful, because there's already a blueprint of exactly what your body's supposed to be. And when you're dealing with the regrowing of the limbs, you know, I have heard, and people can do their own research, that one of the biggest problems we have for not growing our limbs is that we've been taught that we can't do it. So everybody's like, how do I do it? Because you never think, wow, I'm powerful and I can do this. And there's a reason why a salamander can, because it doesn't know any better. And it just absolutely happens. And so there has been studies done where people have been able to do certain things that most people would say are impossible, but it's because the mind got put in check and it kept snapping out of, well, that's not possible, I need it. And it said, no, I'm doing this. And then you activate, because everybody knows a stem cell can be any cell. A stem cell can be turned into a blood, a bone, cartilage, it can be anything, right? And so the brain can dictate, all right, you need to go to the appendix, it can become an appendix cell. Stem cells can become anything. So to think that you've got a stem cell and you're activating stem cells and you need to have something regenerate grown, think about that for a minute. What is stopping you other than you? But with the medbed question, it's a legitimate one. The holographic medbeds, they can literally put a holographic image, right, James? I think we've talked about this. You've done extensive research.
I think the other person was asking, can you, like, say, for instance, take a teaspoon of brain matter? I know you can stick that into a regen tank, but can you stick that into just a medbed and let it regrow into a body? That's a good question. I guess we'll have to find out.
I'm not qualified to answer.
Yeah. Okay.
I've got some stuff, but that's a good question. And that's kind of where this whole thing is moving into. I mean, we're moving into when those free medbeds come, the ones from, and for any of the extraterrestrials out there that are watching this, thank you for all the stuff you're trying to do to help us down here. We're trying to get everything figured out. We're working on it, but they've given us a lot of technology. So, phone number here is 804-495-0770. And once again, the websites that we have, the main website with most of everything on it is healthylifetechnology.com. We also have another website, which is USA Medbed, but that's more where we just dump a bunch of information. If you really just want to look at products and make it easy, Healthy Life Technology is going to be the best one. And if you want to come out here and visit us, like I said, you're always welcome. We had people here this week from Florida, from North Carolina, and we've got people here from, they just left, but Tennessee. They drove 14 hours to come see us. And I always recommend, if you're going to come out here and you're not close by, spend 2 or 3 days. We have a really great hotel. It's an Aloft hotel that's right in the heart of all where we're at. And we get a corporate rate there that's about 110, 120 bucks a night, which saves you a lot of money on hotel. And it's a really nice hotel. James can attest to that. And come spend some time with us, hang out, and we'll break some bread, as they say, and then see what we can do, and really just, send a lot of love and send a lot of compassion and get in all these technologies, because you're going to find when you start using all these things, it might take a day or 2 or 3 for the body to process that data and that information. But, Catherine, who's back with us again, she's had very good results, optic nerve, eye issues. We've got Colin here this time on this trip. So, and we'll circle back with them tomorrow before they go. But everybody here is welcome. And if you're opening a wellness center or have one and you want to add some additional piece of technology, come visit us. We're here to help, and we're here to try to make the world a healthier, happier place.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. Someone was asking, how can you regenerate a leg or an organ with your mind? The only thing I've heard of is the Gregory Grabovoi out of Russia. He came up with these meditation techniques on these number codes that what you would do is you would visualize the stem cells, eventually the organ growing. Now, I have not met anybody personally that actually benefited from that, but if you're interested in trying to just using meditation, you can investigate that. But as far as I'm aware, Gregory Grabovoi is now, sorry, this thing keeps going over, is working for Russian Black Ops now. So, okay, great.
I think the actual studies where I saw that were actually done through some Israeli scientists. But I mean, it's all out there to just dig and research, just go out there and do the research, and then, stay as healthy as you can with the limbs that you've got, and get yourself in a position where that technology does come out and they can do it in a much more fast, efficient way that you're ready. Do what you can with what you've got, and be grateful for whatever it is, as tough and as hard as it might be. Hopefully you're not the people that are calling me with with very severe issues that, more than likely, are going to have a hard time getting fixed, and be open to it. So.
Okay, great. So everybody go to supersoldiercon.com, purchase a ticket to my conference coming up in October. I also have, we've got some vendor spots available. I do need some more volunteers. If you want to volunteer, go to the website, fill out the form. You can also go to healingsoulsurvivors.org and make a donation to my nonprofit. Donations are greatly appreciated. Let's see here. You can also go to Neological Tech, purchase a copy of my book and a meditation device while you're at it. And that will help bring more chi energy into your body, help you relax. So I think that pretty much covers it. Did I miss something? Oh, buy a Lifewave patch. Go ahead.
Yeah. And by the way, I will be at the conference with the Phi-Ray system and probably 1 or 2 other pieces of technology. So if you can't get to Richmond, Virginia, get to the conference. You'll be able to use the technology there and get your hands on it. Thanks for supporting James in every way, shape you can. Buy the patches and as many different things as you can to support him. And all the other super soldiers. And if you are a super soldier and you're out there, we've had many come through, and you're always welcome here. And I'm very confident that if you spend a few days with us, we can definitely do some good for you.
Okay, until next time, we'll see you later. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Please consider supporting Super Soldier Talk by purchasing your own Neo Meditation device. Your Neo Meditation device will help you reduce stress, integrate trauma, enhance intuition, enhance clairvoyance, and enhance creativity. Get yours now at www.neologicaltech.com.